treat you.
Why would they have to learn in secret? Is learning the Force illegal? Are there permits involved? Come on, Star Wars. One of the things you're supposed to be great at is helping me understand the ins and outs of space bureaucracy.
Learning the Force is basically illegal, or at the very least highly frowned upon, outside of the Jedi Order. This is actually a great piece of characterization for the Jedi Order. They fear any other group that uses the Force. This isn't a sin. It's a very solid piece of world building.
This text, this font, it's getting me hyped. Why not just have the entire show be this? Let me fill in the details with my mind. It'll be just like reading a book. It's my favorite thing.
Pretending that you know how to read.
Taking someone hostage so your opponent will climb the stairs faster.
Pointing things out on the screen so your slack-jawed fanboys will mouth breathe even louder.
And I know you're not going to do it, but you'd save everyone so much trouble and a lot of eventual letdown of their high expectations if you just stabbed her right now and ended this.
And yet, if she did that, it would break her character, so you're advocating for the show to be objectively worse.
Also, she does have two hands, right? Just saying.
How does having two hands remove the possibility of getting distracted?
Trinity before the title credits. Don't cast a badass like Carrie-Anne Moss and give her the Drew Barrymore and Scream treatment. It's like an automatic 5 sins.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture ref.
Thinking that someone deserves to be spared just because they have a kid. F all them childless folks, though. If they ain't popping out the babies, they ain't getting no mercy.
This isn't a sin of the episode. It's a deliberate aspect of May's character. She has a sensitivity for children. Keep up.
Grease grubbers are disposable.
Grease is actually not disposable. That'll ruin your drain faster than you can say, ah, victory.
This guy isn't Newt Gunray, so that's racist.
This is a cargo ship. We have no passengers.
Forgetting that your crew are also people.
But he didn't say the ship doesn't have people. He said it doesn't have passengers. Crew members aren't the same as passengers.
Where were you last night?
On this freighter, in this room.
Shouldn't there be like cameras or star charts or I don't know, some kind of sci-fi bullshit to prove your alibi?
I actually like this sin. The Star Wars universe has a strange lack of cameras despite certain properties showing that security cameras do actually exist in universe.
She killed the Jedi and ruined my bar.
Did they just drag this witness around with them everywhere until they found OSHA? What would have happened if she hadn't been on the ship? How many of OSHA's old employers did they have to visit with this dude in tow?
Who knows? And who cares? These questions are completely irrelevant.
Now that you've been identified, prison transport will take you back to Coruscant.
So you're dumping a Force user with the skills and abilities to kill a Master Jedi in a prison transport? That feels a touch, I don't know, lazy? Script convenient? Plot motivated?
I agree. Take another sin back before you say something else that's dumb.
The evidence against her is strong.
Is it? Your entire case relies solely on the testimony of a single witness. And OSHA probably has security footage from the ship she works on to prove where she was when the murder happened.
I removed a sin earlier for you pointing out the lack of security cameras, but now I have to add a sin for your dishonesty. The episode has not given us any reason to believe the ship has security cameras, so you insisting that the ship must have them is bullshit.
Does weird stuff to your brain.
Huh. I'm starting to wonder if I have one on me now, because my brain's just seeing Suicide Squad flashbacks. There's a shark-looking dude, a star-shaped parasite that disables its host, and an impending prison break.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture.
I'm sorry, did they put a man who can control robots in a prison transport operated by robots? Who else do they have in there, Magneto?
Hey, that's 2 in a row.
I'm afraid I cannot afford to lose you to a field mission, Saul.
Why? We haven't been given any evidence that he's more important than any other Jedi. Are there a lack of substitute teachers available at the Jedi Temple during the High Republic?
Soul is her personal friend, so she's trying to protect someone with whom she's very close. Pay attention.
Lord, put your clothes on.
Yord isn't naked in this scene.
Discount Jeremy has a boner.
Whoa! They just shifted from one green screen location to another. My mind is blown.
And why is this a sin? Using a green screen to shift locations is a mistake of the episode? Why? If you're going to make a claim, then you need to justify it.
Always one, but born as two.
This sounds cool, but even with surface level analysis is bunk. If you're born as 2, you are no longer 1, unless this is some no man can kill me bullshit.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop.
May, is it really you?
I'd just like to point out that May is one F from being the letters in FEMA, and I'm now fully convinced Disney is effing with us.
He's already talked about the weird names in this show, so Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
May is alive.
Maybe lead with that next time.
Did you want her to tell Soul that May was alive before she knew that May was alive? 'Cause she just learned this information a minute ago.
If you attack, A Jedi with a weapon, you will fail.
Are you sure? Unless, do daggers not count? This mystery autotune voice should have paid better attention during the opening scene.
May was not following his instructions when she used daggers. She broke his instructions. They specifically talk about this in the very next episode. Jesus.
Master's my friend. You don't have any friends. Nobody likes you. Not listening. Not listening. You're a liar. And a thief. No. Murderer.
Why?
The first two sins Discount Jeremy commits are both pop culture references. Something tells me this video is going to be painful.
Sorry, I gotta ask, do you think he poops? Or is he just all jammed up?
Haven't you sinned shows and movies for making poop jokes a bunch of times in the past? Yeah, hypocrisy, ladies and gentlemen. Also, cringeworthy joke is worthy of cringe.
Nick.
Wow, that's dangerous.
More dangerous than being sent on a mission to apprehend a Jedi assassin? Jedi is probably the most dangerous job in the galaxy next to Sarlacc pit biologist. I'd say Osha's life expectancy increased by at least 14% when she became a ship mechanic.
Okay, but what's the sin? You didn't say anything that could possibly be considered a mistake of the episode. You just rambled on about some bullshit.
I'm better company than a droid. And, way more flexible.
Is she hitting on her? Because she's just a Padawan. That's like illegal.
And original Jeremy thought that Emma Watson was hot when she was 10 years old. Yet here we are.
Osha has a twin sister.
Revealing Osha has a twin sister in episode 2. This isn't the Parent Trap. Didn't you watch The Prestige? If you have a secret twin, you wait until the very end to reveal them in a magnificent plot twist.
Discount Jeremy makes two pop culture references that aren't sins of the episode cliche.
Hey.
Jason Mendoza isn't watching a Jacksonville Jaguars game in this scene.
Whenever we audition a new dancer, we would rate them in 5 categories. Dancing ability, coolness, dopeness, freshness, and smart-brained. I would give you an 8 in every category.
8 isn't bad, I suppose.
Oh, no. 8 is the best. It was a scale of 1 to 13, but 8 was highest.
This is a pip droid. I'm trying to sink into your ship so I can get some fuel levels and some vitals and...
Whoa. They just cleared you for murder. Don't you think you're getting a little too comfortable with their ship? What's next? Changing the radio from the passenger seat?
Seeing as she doesn't get in trouble for this, it's completely irrelevant.
They still left the convenient open. Sorry. And they still convenient the skylight open. All right, once more. And they still left the skylight convenient. Close enough.
This is actually a fair sin. The first time, it could just be chalked up to an oversight, but the second time? Come on, these are Jedi, man.
Following your evil twin when they whisper call your name instead of running the other direction, telling your therapist, or taking a nap.
It's called characterization, dude. It's not a mistake of the episode. It's a purposeful aspect of the character.
Forgive me. We thought we were doing the right thing.
You're supposed to wait for her to forgive you before you drink, so then the camera can pan behind her and we can see that her fingers were crossed the entire time.
A whole bunch of bullshit. The next few sins discuss the stupidity of this scene, and I'm here for it. Take a few sins back before you say something else that's dumb.
Hey, are you okay?
Well, this plan fell apart faster than wet toilet paper. Is it too late to hop in the world between worlds and retry this with Yord's plan?
And how is this a sin? You just said a bunch of words and then rang the sin bell. You didn't actually justify the sin.
If you cooperate, we will consider letting you go with a warning.
What? You let people go with a warning for doing donuts outside an Arby's, not for being an accomplice in an assassination.
Fully agreed. This was really stupid.
Who is he?
I thought he was with you.
That fake-ass laugh.
My sister is dead!
Wait, what about all those creepy twin dreams and force visions? Those weren't shared? I have questions, but I know the answers will be bullshit, so I will not ask them.
If May doesn't know about her sister, then clearly the visions were not shared. It's not that hard to understand.
This isn't going to work, especially not on Sol, who can read minds and was introduced in the series talking about how you can't trust your eyes.
May is force sensitive, which means that she has some measure of control over her own mind. Due to this, she would be able to resist Sol's powers, at least to some extent.
We know where she's going next. We must
We
move.
don't make decisions like this without meaningful discussion, Sol.
I get this scene is to show how inflexible and vulnerable the Jedi are, but it almost feels too ridiculous. If someone's on their way to kill me, then go ahead and skip the meeting. It can just be an email.
And that's why this scene exists. It's a piece of characterization for the Jedi Order. They're taking it to an extreme by doing this.
So May gets the drop on Demir, who dodges all of her strikes and then overpowers her. I get she's supposed to be inexperienced and probably is not going to be the real big bad for the series, but maybe let her look at least somewhat impressive against seemingly normal people.
But Kamir isn't normal. He's a Sith Lord. What the hell is this sin?
Wookiees already have the strength to literally snap a laser gun in two. Giving one the Force just seems like cheating. It'd be like giving Michael Phelps the ability to fly.
So the sin is that this character is super powerful? Why is that bad? You're really not going to explain? Damn.
You can't go. We're stuck here now. It's not up to you. You can't stop me. Yes, I can. How? I'll kill you. Give it back!
If you're born as two, then you're no longer always one. You gotta be careful when using big infinitive.
Skip? Also, I know I skipped that cringe fest, but he made a pop culture reference during it, so...
Easy there, Sol. Standing behind a tree to watch children will typically get you a visit from Chris Hansen. And yes, I'm sure he can reach you even in a galaxy far, far away.
You would know, given how original Jeremy was attracted to 10-year-old Emma Watson. Also, Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture ref.
Your enemies will not warn you before they attack.
Using the Force, I mean the thread, on your children. Check the research, Space Witches. If spanking only reinforces trust issues and negative behavior traits, Force swatting can't be much better.
Expecting witches to be good parents.
You know, I really hate children.
I don't want to do the Ascension.
Osha's aversion to going full witch is the focus of this episode, but the show fails to give us a deeper understanding of the motivation for her ascension hesitation. This moment hits more like a kid whining about what the family's having for dinner than an earth-shattering revelation we can relate to. Shut up, kid. Eat your tacos.
This sin is extremely tone-deaf. I agree that Osha's motivations are not as fleshed out as they should be, but you acting as if she should be going along with the religious indoctrination is pretty messed up. Religious trauma is a very real thing, dude.
Ascension is about walking through fear. It is about sacrificing a part of yourself.
Huh. Ascension is starting to sound like baptism night when I went to church camp. I wonder if the witches will get a new mini Bible and purity ring directly after the dip.
Religion.
My crew is big and it keeps getting bigger. That's 'cause Jesus Christ is my...
You and your sister are special, Osha.
Repeatedly telling your children they're special. Do you want to end up with Timmy in Secret of Nim 2? Because that's how you end up with Timmy in Secret of Nim 2.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture.
The thread has tied together. No one can separate.
Except a fire and some confused Jedi. But aside from those two things, nothing can separate what the thread has tied together.
Discount Jeremy fails to understand that the thread tying these two together is the Force, and even though they become physically separated, they're still connected via the Force. Look, this show is garbage. It shouldn't be this difficult for you to sin it.
You vow upon my death to protect the secrets of our coven and continue our legacy.
Brainwashing a minor into your cult.
Wait, but earlier you said Osha should be going along with this because her motivation for not wanting to wasn't fleshed out. You're contradicting yourself, and while I agree that children should never be indoctrinated into any religious cults, I'm sinning the obvious contradiction.
We thought this planet was uninhabited.
But you had to see people to know where to break in, right? So how does this excuse cover you from breaking into someone's home? Why not just ring the doorbell and hand them a pamphlet on Jedi texts? Even Jehovah's Witnesses don't break into houses, as far as I know.
They knew that the witches would never accept anything the Jedi offered them, so coming into their home was the best way to deal with them directly.
Anastasia, you cannot deny that Jedi have the right to test potential Padawans. With your permission, of course.
So, which is it? Can she not deny the Jedi the right to test Padawans, or can she withhold her permission? These sentences conflict.
You complaining about a contradiction is pretty rich.
I carried them.
I created them.
And the Jedi have a right to test them, while the Coven has a right to ascend them. I think this episode is probably supposed to help clear up some of this confusion, but it's actually just making everything muddier.
As much as this episode and the whole show sucks, it's only confusing you because of your lack of brain cells. The horny girl carried them after the leader created them, and the Jedi have the right to test them because they're currently the most powerful cult in the galaxy. The Coven doesn't have the right to keep them because their magic is illegal.
Now you want to be a Jedi. But as you grow, what you want, it changes.
Unless you're talking about a witch, apparently. Once you want that, you want it forever, and there are no takebacks.
Yes, religious people do often tend to be very narrow-minded when it comes to their religion. That's not a mistake of the episode, it's an unfortunate facet of the real world.
You must have the courage to tell the truth.
Requiring your potential Padawan to possess the Triforce of Courage before you'll train them to become a Jedi. That's just too much pressure.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop.
So Mace Fire killed all of them with what? Smoke inhalation? I'm no crime scene tech, but this all feels suspicious. Like, I'll find out more in a few episodes, but I want to know now.
We find out what really happened later, so what are you yapping about? Do you really think shows will be better if every single question we have is answered immediately? Come on, man.
Yeah, Mr. White. Yes, science.
Watch out! Run!
I guess you could say this episode takes place in a galaxy far, far away. Look, if I don't get a pun in now and again, I get hives. Let me have this, okay?
What the? Oh.
They let Kelnaka use a lightsaber even after seeing these horrendous knife skills.
Pointless throwaway sin is pointless and thrown away like human decency at a Trump rally.
This be a splinter order.
Listen, don't you plant the seed of a martial arts mouse fighting the Sith in search of a safe planet to raise his turtles if you don't intend to let it grow into a teenage mutant ninja Jedi.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture ref.
Scandal like this would inspire fear and mistrust. We should handle this ourselves.
Do you know what would inspire even more fear and mistrust? Finding out that our precious Jedi are covering up a scandal. Maybe y'all should spend less time feeling the Force and more time just reading a newspaper.
Discount Jeremy fails to realize that this is a very important aspect of the Jedi Order. As time goes on, they become more and more like politicians rather than keepers of the peace.
Just curious how you're going to do it this time. You failed so much.
Hey, May, I don't know. Have you considered not sucking? How's this pep talk? You feeling inspired?
Expecting a Sith to be a nice guy.
Does the ship need to break into? Are we ever going to learn the particular benefits of leaving your ass end out in space?
Asking irrelevant questions. I've said it many times before, but simply asking a question does not automatically necessitate a mistake of the episode.
Looking for a Wookiee? He's big and hairy.
Defining someone by their appearance. How'd you like it if we did that to you, Jackie? Yeah, we're just looking for a Padawan. She's short and horny.
That's literally how search efforts work in the real world. What the hell is this sin?
How do we find him?
We have a tracker.
They have interstellar travel, laser swords, and ray guns. But you're telling me they're going to find him in this huge forest the same way we look for escaped convicts today in Mississippi?
An intelligent and sentient creature is much less likely to malfunction than a piece of technology, especially in a dense forest like this. Also, Mississippi.
OSHA stops to touch the obviously dangerous creatures as if she took the Dustin Henderson masterclass on touching obviously dangerous creatures.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture.
Straight for the saber.
It's attracted to life.
You're making a lot of assumptions there. Maybe it's attracted to movement, or threatening posture, or whatever Soul puts in his hair to get that lustrous shine.
Just because you're incapable of intuiting doesn't mean everyone is.
He says, your final lesson is when you teach yourself.
Allowing your main villain to have as much motivation as my college professors. Is the final lesson that I shouldn't have spent thousands of dollars on tuition? Already learned that one.
Okay, that was actually kind of funny. The last few sins in this video were actually pretty solid. It's frustrating that TVSins is only competent when the show they're sinning is dog shit, but I'll remove a sin for this rare showing of capability.
I can smell you.
Babe, you're alright.
Disney still thinking I'm going to fall in love with Pip just because it's a droid.
You already sinned Pip in a previous episode, so discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
I can tell you from experience, my friend's experience, that your malfunctioning saber isn't going to spontaneously start working no matter how long you look at it or how hard you shake it.
Well, based on your channel's history, I think taking a look at a photo of 10-year-old Emma Watson will do the trick.
I'm wondering what Osha thought this would accomplish. She's gambling her life on the idea that this will distract the stranger into immediately chasing her, instead of him taking 2 seconds to kill Yord and then chasing her.
Maybe she thinks it'll knock him out. I mean, it is a stun gun after all.
Deus Sol Machina.
Discount Jeremy still doesn't know what Deus Ex Machina means.
You don't remember me.
I sense something familiar.
If the helmet is blocking everything, I'm wondering what Soul is sensing. Can Jedi, recognize a kidney that they've met before?
The helmet doesn't prevent Soul from sensing something vague, it prevents him from sensing anything in detail. It's sort of like a distortion effect.
Having force powers, but choosing to deploy what we in the industry call a flying Shatner. I do love it when Wars steals from Trek.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture ref.
Wait, why is May fighting? Wasn't May's new plan to surrender herself to the Jedi once she realized Osha was alive? Okay, Jecki came in hot, but isn't this exactly what May wanted at the end of the last episode?
Like you said, Jecki came in hot. When someone attacks you, your survival instincts kick in.
For the body shot here, which is blocked by Jecki. Luckily, Jecki immediately throws away the shield, which gave May the perfect opportunity to not throw another dagger at Jecki's unprotected torso, and instead throw it at this console so all the sparks can blind her for half a second. I don't know what anyone is thinking here.
A good sin? Damn, that's unusual, but I'll take it.
Show your face and let you read my thoughts. No.
Once upon a time, Disney bought Star Wars and Marvel, and the result is that the characters now think they're free to borrow from any franchise they like, such as telepathy-blocking helmets. Also, and this applies to Magneto, how does this helmet block telepathy from, well, the bottom up? I mean, it isn't creating a perfect seal around the brain, so why don't some of the thoughts leak out through the neck?
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture. Also, the helmet isolates the user in the Force. We're dealing with literal magic here, dude.
It's into your head, and he stays there.
Show confirms that the stranger's helmet conveniently works like a one-way mirror that you see in interrogation rooms. Apparently, the stranger can push his will outwards, but nothing can come back in. Actually, I guess a sphincter would probably be a better analogy. Yeah. This helmet is a mental force sphincter.
So, cringeworthy joke aside, why is this a sin? What's the issue? You just called it convenient, but didn't provide any reasoning for that assessment. I can't just accept your claims unless you back them up.
Staring at your broken saber so long that you completely lose track of your enemy. Look, I hate that Jecki is eventually killed, and I'm not saying she had it coming. But if she did have it coming, she wouldn't have been observant enough to notice it.
Victim blaming. Is CinemaSins owned by the Daily Wire?
Hold up. That thing stood up to a direct lightsaber strike, but 2 elbow smacks to the head broke it? Were those force elbow smacks? Man, I bet hitting your force funny bone sucks.
This is another good sin. Lightsaber blades have no effect on the helmet, but the hilt of a lightsaber does? Come on, man.
The mini lightsaber is pretty cool, but it is so heartbreaking to see these 3 holes in Jecki. No. It's not because I actually care. It's because I know 2 of these holes are just there because Sabine and Reva survived a single skewering, and the show knows I'd send anything less than 3 stabs resulting in death. Well done, Ahsoka and Obi-Wan Kenobi. You've now ruined every single hole lightsaber impaling for the entire franchise.
Sinning 2 other shows when you're supposed to be sinning this show.
She was a child.
You brought her here.
Also, what a f***ing stupid thing to say. Jackie was an incredible Jedi, and she certainly wasn't pulling any punches. Would he have said the same if she killed May or sent the good place here to the bad place? Get the f*** out of here with that only a child sh**.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop.
You really didn't know it was me.
Nah, we all knew. There was no real reason for Chimera to be on this planet, and these reveals always have to be someone you already know. We're just disappointed, again, that it wasn't Carrie Ann Moss.
Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
But a Jedi like you might call me Sith.
Hate to keep using the prequel trilogy as a reference guide, believe me, I honestly do, but...
Impossible. The Sith have been extinct for a millennium.
And this show apparently takes place 100 years before Episode 1, which is significantly less than a millennium. Look, I'm sure there will eventually be some reason why this particular Sith was buried from knowledge, but we all know a retcon when we see one.
This isn't a retcon. This is an example of the Jedi being too arrogant to admit that the Sith still exist. Look, this show is garbage, so it really shouldn't be this difficult for you to sin it.
Jedi do not attack the unarmed.
Fine, but you can restrain the unarmed, right? Especially if they've murdered lots of people. Why are you giving him so much space? Also, believing that a person with access to an invisible power that allows for telepathy and psychokinesis can ever truly be considered unarmed.
I could point out that this rule clearly only applies to physical weapons, but I could also point out that the first sin he gave in this clip was totally valid. I think these two things cancel each other out.
Strangers just dispatched a bunch of badass Jedi, and Yord, but is suddenly whisked away by the flying bugs? This guy's a beast with that lightsaber. How is he not turning them into an endangered species already?
Fighting an enemy that flies is very different from fighting an enemy on the ground.
Soul is such a badass and I love him, which is why it's so infuriating when he doesn't see shit like this coming. Okay, maybe he's distracted or not in tune with the Force right now, but that's never made clear.
It's literally being made clear right now by the fact that Soul doesn't see this coming. How can you complain about not seeing evidence for a thing when the evidence for the thing is literally happening on screen?
Jedi got what they deserved.
I could see you making that argument for Soul or Kalnaka, but can you really say every single Jedi who died tonight deserved it? Jackie and Yord had nothing to do with your home being destroyed. They weren't even Jedi at the time. Did they deserve to die solely for the crime of being Type A?
Discount Jeremy doesn't understand the concept of prejudice.
What are you doing? What I came here to do. Arrest you.
With what, a shoulder lock? Osha does realize May is much better at, well, everything, right? Is Osha really going to subdue her with her low-key, low-G repair skills?
Osha thinking that she can succeed is not a mistake of the episode, it's a mistake of the character within the episode.
Who?
Your sister.
We're gonna find out some shit about May and Osha being technically the same person, but how in the name of the Olsen twins does Soul not sense something is up here? I mean, why does a stranger bother with a helmet if it's this easy to trick a Jedi?
May and Osha are essentially the same person, like you said, but then you try to deflect by pretending that this is an easy way to trick a Jedi. Let me ask you something, bud. How easy do you think it is to create people from the Force, especially considering that this has only ever happened once with May and Osha?
Oh, my neck, my back, my neck and my back. Oh, I want 150,000.
What happened here?
What do you see?
An explosion. Then a battle. One versus many. His power extraordinary, his skills erratic. His sole aim was to leave no survivors.
Of all the new lore Disney's added to Star Wars...
Skip.
Well, it doesn't smell like urine or Dr. Pepper, so I guess this is safe to drink and definitely not an odorless poison. Bottoms up!
And why would Khmer keep an odorless poison in his water bottle? I mean, I get that you would be dumb enough to poison yourself, but Khmer has more than 2 functioning brain cells.
Let's go back to Soul taking off suggests that the stranger flew to an entirely different planet, parked in the ocean, took May to a cave, and treated her wounds, all before Soul has even left orbit or attempted to communicate with the Jedi.
Or maybe some of those things happened at the same time. Do you seriously not understand how editing works?
So do certain Jedi powers like awareness of your surroundings and detecting disturbances in the Force skip a generation? Asking for a soul.
This has already been explained to you at least once, but I'll do it again. Jedi need to focus their Force powers in order for them to work, so the Force doesn't just work idly. Soul is distracted right now, so it makes sense that he doesn't sense May's scheming.
Take the wheel.
Spaceships that have wheels. Look, I know it's probably not hooked up to anything physical, but it's still a fucking weird thing, and we all know they exist purely because it looks cool in big chase scenes.
Or because the pilot needs to steer the ship? What the hell is this sin?
What the f*** is Basil doing? He knows the Osha they have on board is actually May. Why not immediately tell Soul?
Basil can't speak. How do you expect him to tell Soul anything when he doesn't even have the ability to talk?
Stay where you are.
Or I'll shoot you with this sword.
Okay, that was actually pretty funny. Take a sin back before you say something dumb.
You're not gonna join me. I like to put my clothes back on.
Either I've missed a few seasons of Naked and Afraid, or someone is executing a perhaps too literal interpretation of seduce them to the dark side.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture ref.
Supposed to be your prisoner?
Prisoner? You're the one with the weapon.
What an asshole, acting as if he's actually in any real danger here. Be a murdering psychopath if you want, but don't gaslight her.
Expecting a Sith to be a nice guy. That's like expecting a conservative to accept evidence.
Considering we didn't see him pull this against a stranger, I think Basil's fully aware that his strengths do not lie in the kicking ass category. So what the is he hoping to accomplish, and why is he still not telling Soul about May?
Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
Welcome to the May Gets Home Alone portion of the episode. Please take a moment to seek out your nearest medical professional to treat any tonal whiplash you may be experiencing.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture.
That's the path to the dark side.
Semantics.
People who think saying semantics is some kind of conversational bombshell that will win all debates. It's almost as bad as agree to disagree, and we can argue about the semantics of that never.
I fully agree with your sentiment here, but that's still not a sin of the episode. Remember, you're supposed to be sinning the episode, not real life.
When you lose everything, that's when you're finally free.
Free to what? Get everything back so you can lose it again, so you can be free to find your purpose and lose it all again in the name of freedom? When are we going to get some fucking Sith specifics instead of this gibberish? Modern Star Wars seems to be filled with these vague mantras that are endlessly open to interpretation. It's almost like some shows are afraid to nail down what anyone actually believes because the guy who has all the answers decided he didn't want to play with his philosophical toys anymore.
This is a genuinely fantastic sin. It's kind of pathetic that it took half of the video for one good point, but I'll take it. In the original trilogy, and even the prequels, hell, even the Clone Wars show, we know exactly what the villains want and why they want it. Khmer is still a mystery to me, though.
I think when you really want something, it can cloud your mind.
Which is writer code for, yeah, we have no excuses, but wasn't it a cool twist?
Look, this show is absolute garbage, but the explanation May just provided was reasonable. You ignoring it in favor of a dishonest sin is really stupid. That fake-ass laugh.
Also a sensory deprivation headpiece, like we used as younglings.
Well, sensory deprivation except for your sight, right? Because there's clearly some light leaking through here when we see the NPOV. And you're hearing because you had a conversation with Soul while wearing it, so you clearly heard him. So it blocks out your taste, touch, and smell? That doesn't seem all that useful.
Another good point? Damn, it's rare that I have to remove one sin, let alone 3 sins in one video.
The sign of Osha, or her twin. They must have survived somehow.
Or they were taken away by the terrifying Jedi-slaying moths to be consumed at their lair.
He's already complained about the moth creatures, so discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
Look at that thing. Lightsaber whip? That's so fucking cool. Can't wait to see how that gets used in season 2.
Discount Jeremy sins something he likes cliche.
Oh, cute cat. It would be quite shocking if that cat hit the whip.
Wait, did I accidentally pick episode 3 again? Didn't we already have a full flashback episode? Don't you know you only get one of those a season? Who do you think you are? Lost?
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture ref.
Did someone lose their keys? Is is this the future?
I get that this is supposed to be a joke, but these aren't metal detectors. They're looking for a Force Vergence.
100 years ago, this planet was cataloged as lifeless because of a hyperspace disaster.
Expecting your audience to read the High Republic books so they have all the necessary backstory to understand whatever the you're talking about. Books have like paper words and stuff. It's unnatural.
Republicans.
Padawan is too distracted to appreciate the significance of a virgins.
Maybe that's because he hasn't been shown why this is so important. And come to think of it, neither have we.
Virgins could create life, like what we see on this planet. It's a power. It should be studied, protected.
I do not tell him answers to ease his mind. That's why I have a Padawan and you do not.
Indara has a Padawan because she doesn't tell people answers to ease their minds, or Sol doesn't have a Padawan because he does tell people answers to ease their minds. Either way, seems like extremely weird criteria to determine which knights get to Pada someone.
Sol is essentially too nurturing. A Jedi Master has to let the Padawan figure some things out for themselves, rather than just being hand-fed information.
Dara, can you read me?
Of course she can't. If she could, she'd probably tell you to stop stalking little girls, and then we'd have no story.
This is hypocritical, coming from a guy who works for a man who was attracted to 10-year-old Emma Watson.
Show that cost $180 million somehow has less convincing climbing scenes than the Adam West Batman show.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture.
You've traveled so far only to become trapped on this planet.
I mean, 7 weeks is a long time, but trapped is kind of overselling it.
You're failing to realize that she's playing into his anxieties. Sure, he's not actually trapped, but he feels like he is.
These characters whine about in this series are just dumb. They want dumb things. Like they're minorly inconvenienced and just can't get over it. It's like, I don't want to be a witch. I don't want to work on this planet. Well, you know what? I don't want to pay taxes or go to the DMV, but I'm not going to turn to the dark side just because of my fear of the take a number machine.
Torben doesn't turn to the dark side, though. Are you even watching the show?
So earlier when you said,
Put down your weapons. No violence.
That didn't include assaulting the mind of a minor, because that seems pretty f***ing violent to me.
The episode is simply suggesting that she doesn't view it that way. That's a flaw of the character within the episode, not a flaw of the episode itself. This show is terrible enough without you being dishonest, my guy.
The scouts will bring Osha to your camp at midday.
Relying on scouts to bring your children to the Jedi. They're objectively the worst class in TF2. At least send a couple of demo nights with them.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop.
Just too old to join the order.
Once again, Star Wars tells us there are age restrictions on when children can become Padawans, but fails to show us a reason why said age restriction is necessary.
Except they did show us in the prequel trilogy. Older children are harder to condition, which makes them more emotionally volatile and thus susceptible to the dark side.
Castle.
Confusing a castle for a Pokemon. Wait, they made a castle Pokemon? I'm not sure whether to blame the Jedi or Nintendo for my confusion, so I'll just deliver a sin for each.
Discount Jeremy makes a...
I want to do what's best for Osha.
But why? Why is Sol suddenly fascinated with making this girl his Padawan? You can feel Lee Jung-jae trying his best with the writing he's given. He's pouring all the emotion he can into this character arc, but we, the audience, aren't being shown why he wants a Padawan so badly, or why it has to be Osha instead of May, or literally any other kid in the galaxy.
There are a bunch of great actors in this show, but they're given absolute dog to work with. It's not their fault, it's the fault of the writers.
Wait, the symbiotes are the same.
Wait, are you saying there are two symbiotes? Are we talking a Venom situation or a Carnage? Oh, I pray for the former.
Discount Jeremy makes...
She is a child.
I'm with Random Witch on this one. Osha's a child, and her being hell-bent on making a decision that will separate her from her family and community forever seems extreme. Exchange Jedi school for clown college.
Skip.
You would sacrifice our future for the wish of a child.
But then again, yeah, maybe Osha should do what she wants. The problem here is that we don't know what it means to lead this coven. Is it something sinister, or just a bunch of meetings like this? Besides, they still have May. Why do they even need both?
Yet another good sin. See, when the show is complete garbage, TVSins can actually be somewhat competent.
We must stop him before he starts a conflict.
Thinking the conflict hadn't already started at the point of breaking into someone's home and demanding their children.
She meant violent conflict. The dialogue was still pretty bad, but I felt like I should clear that up.
Okay, so Mother Coral turned into smoke, and now the witches in this room are controlling Kelnaka. But why did she have to turn into smoke? And where did the archers go? And what was Anastasia trying to do when she turned into smoke? And why am I doing that thing again with the questions? And how many episodes are there left?
Jesus, I'm removing almost as many sins as I'm adding. This is your fault, the Acolyte. If you had been decent, this wouldn't be happening.
So that's it. They all died because Indara freed Kelnaka of their mind control. What kind of spell allows you to control someone's brain but kills you if you lose the connection? Is it like the Matrix where you die if you don't pull your mind out before being disconnected? I need specifics.
Discount Jeremy makes a decent point, but then also makes a pop culture reference, so they cancel each other out.
They started a fire.
Show still doesn't explain how the entire stone fortress burned like it was soaked in kerosene. Was everything in this era of Star Wars highly flammable?
This is a valid sin, but he already mentioned it in a previous episode, so Discount Jeremy double dips cliche.
I don't know what that means.
No one knows what it means, but it's provocative.
No, it's not. It's
Gets
gross.
the people going.
Expecting us to know or care what's going on here. Is she hyperventilating? Her head's already in a paper bag. Why are his eyes turning black? Does it have anything to do with the story, or did someone in the writer's room go, hey, you know what would be cool? It's like half the stuff on this show.
Look, this show is absolute garbage, but it's pretty obvious that Kamir is using the Force to remove the helmet from Osha's head. The fact that you're screwing up your criticism of this terrible show is really sad.
So we go together and see who gets to her first.
Why does Quirmir even still want May? He called her a failed apprentice and could have killed her before but let her go. What does he possibly gain by going to where she is besides expanding screen time in the finale?
He's hoping to use the sisters to corrupt each other. He knows that May hates the Jedi because of Sol abandoning her, so if he can get May and Osha back together, May can pretty easily turn Osha against the Jedi as well. You know, exactly what happens in this very episode.
There is a vengeance on this planet. Know that you and Osha are both alive. I can prove it.
It's almost like this show wanted this Virgins thing to mean something, but because it's been so much time replaying we didn't need to see twice, we'll never know how one became two in the Virgins pool of magical force stuff.
The Virgins has the ability to generate life. If you're asking for specifics on how exactly that happens, then you're being an idiot because it's magic. You can't explain or give specifics on magic.
See you in hell, Jedi.
Wait, does hell exist in the Star Wars universe? Does heaven? I kind of assumed everything that died went back into the Force, but if hell exists, I'm going to need a flowchart detailing the specific afterlife rules of this galaxy.
CinemaSins already tried to sin Empire Strikes Back.
Your tauntaun will freeze before you reach the first marker. Then I'll see you in hell.
In other words, you've either already forgotten about this, or you're fully aware of it and choosing to ignore it for the sake of dishonesty. Either way, this is a sin.
I didn't realize that May and Osha being born via a Virgins gives them the ability to survive any crash landing. That's a handy skill to have.
Given that Star Wars ships are far more technologically advanced than the vehicles we currently have, I wouldn't be surprised if they also have super effective safety features.
I think the Jedi are a massive system of unchecked power, posing as a religion. A delusional cult that claims to control the uncontrollable.
Wow, what a fascinating perspective and character to include. I genuinely want to know more about him and why he feels this way. Good thing they waited until the finale to include him, thereby ensuring we'd be given every opportunity to understand the Senator instead of just hoping for a second season to expand on his POV.
I fully agree with this sin. This character and his perspective are actually very interesting, and the actor does a great job in the small amount of screen time he gets, but introducing this in the last episode? Come on, man.
So far, the bulk of this finale has just been characters walking around the ruins of Bryndock. Now, normally, if the scenery's pretty, I'll overlook a bit of expanded exploring. There was a lot of walking around in Prometheus, and I still had fun because it looked great.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture ref.
Thank you for leading me to her.
Leading you to who? Sol hasn't found anyone yet. He's alone in the hallway.
Right, but May is still nearby, and Kamir knows that. Seriously, my guy, there are so many stupid things for you to sin. How are you screwing up this badly?
Like a sigh of relief whenever they start fighting in this show. Part of me wants to take a sin off, but a bigger part of me is bitter that this is the only part of the show I like.
Discount Jeremy sins something he likes cliche.
No one will be seated for this exciting reenactment of Crouching Jedi Hidden Stranger.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop culture.
I didn't do this.
To be fair, you did set the room on fire with your sister inside, so you did do that.
But that's not what they're talking about right now. Dude, just pay attention and the sins will right themselves.
Soul killed our mother. I saw it with my own eyes.
Also, I'm going to go ahead and leave out the part where Mom turned into the smoke monster from Lost and spooked the out of Soul right before she got stabbed.
Discount Jeremy makes a pop.
Psych! May is going to come in and save the same guy who tried to kill her repeatedly several episodes ago. The things that the people do in this show make so much sense.
Yeah, this is another good sin. Hardly anything anyone does in this show makes any sense.
You and Osha are the same person.
Thinking that repeating yourself counts as an explanation. It does not. Observe.
Skip.
I believe she used the Force to create you and Osha.
Disney fails to provide its scientific data on making Force babies for gay couples who don't want to go through surrogacy.
Again, what data are you expecting? It's literal magic, dude. There's no such thing as data.
I was protecting you. It was the right thing to do.
Justifying murder of someone who just smoke monsters differently than you.
Wait, but just a minute ago you mentioned how turning into a smoke monster was scary and May should be cutting Soul a little slack. Now you're saying the opposite, so you're contradicting yourself. Pick a lane, dude.
Showing off your fancy color-changing glow stick before the rave even starts. You're supposed to wait for the sick beats to drop before lighting it up, Osha.
Unfunny joke is unfunny.
Jedi uses obscure powers to move the plot along. Cliché.
That's not a cliché. Do you seriously still not understand what the word cliché means?
I can attempt to wipe her memory.
Evil Jedi uses obscure powers to move the plot along. Cliché.
Not only is that not a cliché, but he's also not an evil Jedi. He's a Sith. There's a difference.
Remove any trace of you or me. Permanently.
But why? What's the point of erasing May's memory this far into the fourth quarter? You can literally just take her with you and dump her on a different planet. There's no point in letting the Jedi capture her, especially not with Vernestra knowing the stranger was on this planet when Soul died. It's not like she'll stop looking for him and Osha just because they captured May. This whole plot point is dumb. It's just blatant emotional manipulation used to pad the runtime.
May doesn't want to go with Kamir and Osha, but Kamir doesn't want her to leak any information to the Jedi. Wiping her memory prevents this from happening and keeps him and Osha safe.
May was 8. Wasn't she, like, super evil? Did they also erase her compulsion to torture animals?
We don't know, and it really doesn't matter. Asking irrelevant questions. The last few sins in this video are good, so I'll remove one more sin.
Such wasted potential.
Damn, I've never had that happen before when I'm recording.